This is a Dreamcast disc and is for use only on a Dreamcast unit. Playing this disc on a hi-fi or other audio equipment can cause serious damage to its speakers.
Dreamcast, up to 6 billion players.
Welcome back to the stage of history.
Why don't we play together?
Hey, it's time to make some crazy money. Are you ready? Here we go!
Please stop this disc now.
Hello everybody and welcome to the latest episode of the best Dreamcast podcast. Contrary to popular belief, which we'll go into in a second as well. DreamPod episode 57. As you might be able to tell from my non-northern voice, it's a slightly different host today, and that is because you have me, Mike, as the host, rather than Tom. However, Tom is still on the podcast. Tom?
Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Tom.
This is weird. This is a bit weird, isn't it?
It is a bit weird. It's an interesting start to the podcast because I'm not quite sure what to say now. But yes, so we thought we'd try it a little bit different. We're open to new things on the Dreamcast Junkyard, as always, as long as it doesn't involve PlayStation anyway. And we obviously want to try and see if a different host might make some differences and see if we have a different sort of feel to the podcast.
Improve things, you mean?
Well, no, I wouldn't say improve things, Tom. That's not fair. You are the helm of our podcast and will be our...
Was that our helm totem, or helmet?
You are the totem for the Dreamcast Junkyard and always will be, Tom.
Right, stop sucking each other off.
Also on the podcast, as you can hear from that lovely little introduction there, is Ross. Ross?
Hello, hi guys. You alright?
Not too bad, Ross. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm alright. Same old.
Ross is obviously very excited because he just heard that Ghostblade is having another release, and we all know how much of a fan of Ghostblade Ross is.
Oh, indeed. Yes, I can't wait to add that version to my collection. Yeah.
What is this? Is this release number 3 now? Is it or?
I think it is, isn't it?
What is it?
So,
but what did we have? We had the original HughCast one, and there might have been a limited edition version of that as well.
Yeah.
Then we had what's the other one? We've had it released
there was one for it was Josh Pod, didn't they release it as the
PAL
first
version?
The PAL version in the first wave of their new releases, and right. Also there was the PS4 and Xbox version and PC, the HD version that came out about a year ago.
Yeah, what's this one then?
So this is number 4.
Who's it made by? I thought this was Josh. Oh, American Josh Prod.
It's Josh Prod, but I think it's being released. Is it exclusive to New York?
Yeah, Video Games Store? Yeah, Video Games New York are releasing it. It's got NTSC-U style packaging. I think that's the only difference.
Yeah.
For those people who don't know what we're talking about, Video Games New York, which is a brick and mortar store in New York that sells video games, hence the name. They also have an online store as well. They are releasing an exclusive new version of Ghostblade, the average shooter for the Dreamcast. That's it really.
It is, yeah. It's another release for the completists out there. Unfortunately, I am one of them. At some point, I probably will pick it up, but let's not go into that because Ross might actually kill me. So today's podcast is special, and it's going to be based around the online side of Dreamcast, something which we've talked about a lot on the Dreamcast Junkyard in the last few months. It seems to be a very big trend at the current time. Lots of people going online.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the current state of online and sort of generally online Dreamcast since the inception of it, really.
Yeah.
So quite a few things to cover. We're also going to start off, though, as we always do, with go around the table and just seeing what we've picked up and what we've played on the Dreamcast or elsewhere in the last few weeks. And we'll start with Tom. Don't go first often, do you, Tom?
No, I usually have to wait until everybody else has bored the listeners with their own pickups and played. And then I kind of shoehorn mine in at the end. Obviously we've not done a podcast now for a couple of weeks. And in that time I have played quite a few games and not picked up very many for the Dreamcast, but I have had a few interesting deliveries, so I'll go into those in a minute. First up, though, on the good old PlayStation 4 Pro, I have been playing a game called Ride 2, which is a motorcycle racing game. Think of Gran Turismo, but with motorbikes, and you're kind of halfway there. It's not as in-depth as Gran Turismo would be for cars, because the the tinkering that you can do with the bikes is not as in depth as that you can do in Gran Turismo. It's mainly just like visual upgrades and cosmetic changes that you can make to the bikes. However, the reason... Sorry, go on.
Is it any good though, Tom?
It's really good. I'm really impressed with it. I mean, I only paid £10.
Point? Is it better than Ducati?
No, nothing will ever beat Ducati World on the Dreamcast.
Gonorrhea is better than Ducati World.
What is?
Gonorrhea is better than Ducati World. I detest that game with... It is my Spirit of Speed, Tom. I can never... The first time I played Ducati World, I driven my bike down the street, and I literally went up vertical on the hill, on the side of the track. I thought, this is literally the worst game of all time. All the attention on big rigs on the PC from years ago, but the physics in Ducati World are just so poor.
It almost reminds me of Stun Runner, you know, that Atari Lynx game where you can go around the inside of that tube.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Ride 2. I love the way that it's got like actual production bikes that you can buy and ride, because a lot of these like MotoGP games have all got like these super bikes that you'll never be able to actually attain in real life. Yeah. Whereas the Ride 2 stable has got like little 125s all the way up to like, you know, big like cruisers and stuff. It's really, really good. If you're into e-bikes like I am, then this is definitely worth picking up.
It's Milestone, isn't it, as well? Guys who did the WRC games.
It is, yeah, you're right. It is, yeah. Really good game. Apart from that, PS4, I've been playing a lot of PES. I love PES. PES 2018, I'm addicted to that game. And that's pretty much it for the PS4. One quick mention I must give to Shadow of the Colossus. I've never played the original on the PS2. So I got the PS4 version, and I must say it's absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful game, and it's just so... The way the world is so desolate, it just feels so unique. Do you know what I mean? There's just, there's a real sort of overbearing kind of sadness to the game that is just it's hard to like describe, you know, without playing it. So yeah, that's worth checking out as well. On the Switch, I have been obsessed with a little game called Skyforce Reloaded, which is a vertical shmup with like absolutely tons of replay value. Basically, you've got like about 15 different stages, and you have to grind and collect coins or stars, and then upgrade your ship, like weapons and shield, etc., etc. But it's really kind of stingy on how much it gives you per stage that you do. But there's loads of pickups and loads of like little like milestones that you have to reach. How many people have you killed? How many enemies have you shot down? That kind of thing. Loads of little bonuses that you can unlock. It's fantastic. It's probably the game I've ploughed the most time into on the Switch in the sort of 2 weeks I've had it. Amazing game. Cool. I did like the one on the Vita actually. The previous game, Skyforce Anniversary. So I knew kind of what I was, I knew what to expect, but it's just taken over my life. So yeah, I've been playing that quite a bit on the good old Switcheroo. And when it comes to the Dreamcast, I haven't really played that much recently. I've been playing, I've been kind of crunching through The Last Golem. I think we touched on it very briefly in the last episode. Last Golem is a really kind of uncommon little was it a puzzle game where you control the golem who moves around the board, pushing walls around, and you have to guide the king through the door at the other end of the room. It's a lot more complicated than that because there's certain criteria that you have to meet. But I can't remember if we mentioned this on the last episode, but this game apparently only sold about 500 copies in Japan and was made by a group of students. And it's the only game they ever made. So it's quite an oddity, quite a rare one as well. I think people might start catching on to that fact and the price might start going up. But at the moment, it's still pretty cheap from what I can see on like eBay and stuff.
Yeah, but it will now, won't it? Thanks, Tom.
Oh, sorry.
And I've already got my copy, so
yeah. Well,
as have I.
Yeah, well, this is.
Well,
I don't think it's a secret that I'm not allowed to talk about. But I've done another article for Retro Gamer magazine, which should be in the next issue coming out, sort of at the end of March, I think it will be. And the Lost Golem is featured in that, so I would imagine that after that goes to print, that might sort of push the price up. So I do apologise.
What's the topic of the article?
It's just a Minority Report. You know, they do this thing every issue where they have like
hidden gems. Right?
Yeah. But this is all featuring like NTSC U and NTSC-J games, or rather the ones that I could play properly and understand. So there's no dating sims in there.
Japanese only. Dreamcast only stuff, is it?
Yeah, it's Dreamcast. But Japanese and American games that never came to PAL territories.
Sweet.
So yeah, Lost Golem's in there. So yeah, check that out. And the only other game that I just want to give a quick mention to is a game called 2D House of Terror that I had no idea existed until it randomly turned up in the post this week, because a guy who is on our Facebook group, Martin Aaron K, he's the guy who does all the reproduction games that we give away in competitions and things. He sent me this, and it's in a nice PAL case with like bespoke artwork and things created by the people who actually made the game. And it's a 4-player like battle game, multiplayer sort of selection of mini games, and it's all set in like a sort of a haunted house. And this game actually came out in, I think it was about 2013, and was just released online as like a downloadable like image that you could burn onto a disc. And also they put artwork as well that you can download and print out. But it's made by an outfit called 2D Retro Perspectives, and it's quite a cool little thing. You know, if you've got 4 people who want to play a party game, then this is pretty cool. I'm going to do a full review on the Dreamcast Junkyard in the coming sort of weeks, so look out for that. But yeah, nice little oddity, and massive thanks to Martin as well for sending that to me. That was really cool of you. So yeah, that's.
I have not heard of this, and now I am frantically trying to find about it.
I just found a video on YouTube. Yeah, it looks alright, like a little fun party game.
Yeah. And it's freely available to download, so don't buy it if you see it like on Etsy or on eBay. You can just download it and burn it onto a disc.
If someone's burnt a disc with just a felt tip pen on the front going £40 on eBay, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Please don't buy it.
One last thing I just wanted to mention is that I've also been playing on the Vita again, because I opened the drawer last week and it was just there in the drawer covered in dust. I was like, oh, I forgot I had this. So I've been getting back into WRC5 on the Vita. It's not the best rally game, but it's still pretty good. And one thing that is kind of dawned on me, that since I've had the Switch, my kind of muscle memory has kind of switched, no pun intended, because on the Switch, the A button is like accept and continue into the next menu or whatever. And that, on the PlayStation, is the circle button, which is usually go back or cancel. Course, yeah. So every time I play on the PlayStation now, I'm pressing the circle button instead of A or X. Do you know what I mean? I know that sounds confusing, but it's reversed my kind of muscle memory, and it's really annoying. So when I pick up the PlayStation, instead of going forward into a menu, I end up backing out of it. I'm like, oh, why did I press that? And it's because of the Switch, obviously.
Yeah, so I do that a lot with anything like Switch, or it always seems to mess with my mind that the buttons have changed positions.
Yeah. Anyway, I've
it doesn't
enough.
Bother me. What bothers me is lack of D-pad more than anything if we're talking about control scheme on the Switch.
Just get yourself a Pro controller. Get yourself a Pro controller, mate. It's got a D-pad on it.
Yeah, I should do. Yeah.
I have my Switch as handheld only, so it wouldn't help me in the slightest. I don't think I've actually played my Switch on a TV, which is probably not Nintendo.
I've not either. No, I've not played it once.
So what? On that subject, sorry, Mike. On that subject, I played. I've like you. I've almost always exclusively played my Switch in handheld mode. I put it in the dock just to charge it up, and then pull it back out again when I want to play it. But the other day I put Doom on the big screen, and it looks like dog shit. Doesn't it? On the telly, it looks utterly terrible. I put because the PS4 is plugged into like one HDMI port, and the Switch is plugged into the other. I can just switch the inputs, on the fly with the controller. So I had Doom running on the PS4 Pro. Obviously, it's a much more powerful system, but you can really see like the fidelity difference and the detail difference if you just switch between them, like on the fly. Wow, obviously in handheld mode it's fine because you can't see all that like minuscule little detail. Anyway, sorry.
I think that's the reason I haven't put it on TV. Really, I've got PS4 and Xbox One. I don't think I need to have a Switch on a big screen. But anyway, we don't.
Yeah, that's anyway. I think it fares much better as a handheld than it does as a home system. Like, I know that's the marketing gimmick or whatever, but if you just think of it as a handheld and nothing more or less, then it fares a lot better than if you try to compare it to other consoles.
I know this is a Dreamcast podcast, but one last thing I want to mention on the Switch is: have you seen this game on the eShop called Ace of Seafood? It's like a weird kind of like sea-based shooter where you play as like fish and fire lasers out of your face. It just looks ridiculous. I'm waiting for some reviews to go. I'm waiting for Nintendo Live to do a review because I want to see what it actually is. But if you go on the eShop and look in the new releases, you'll see it. And the trailer is just it's bonkers. Do you know what I mean? It just looks so ridiculous.
It sounds good to me. Sea-based shoot 'em ups. I'm sure there's a couple on the Mega Drive I played.
Yeah.
What they are, no?
But yeah, Ace of Seafood. I think it should get like a 10 out of 10 just for that name, to be honest. Right, sorry, I've waffled enough now. I keep saying that.
You have. See, when Tom's not in the big chair, he goes on and on and on.
Droning voice. Right, shut up, Tom. Shut up.
Ross, what have you picked up and what have you played?
Well, in terms of Dreamcast, it's stuff that relates to the topic, which we'll talk about later. So, I'll leave that for later. But me too. I've been playing a lot on PS4 Pro. 2 games in particular. The first one is Madden 18. And this is the first Madden game ever that I actually really enjoyed. It's the first Madden game that I think holds up against Sega's NFL 2K5. So, I really recommend it.
Did you play the story mode?
Yes, and it's really good. It's like, for those who don't know, it's like a Telltale style like story mode about an up-and-coming American football player who's trying to get into the NFL. It's really good fun. You've played it as well, have you, Mike?
I have, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. I've got to say, the visuals are some of the best I've seen. The animation, the voice acting's top-notch. The writing's really good. It's unbelievable. This is in a EA sports game of all things, but I was really impressed by it.
The content's really good. The amount of stuff that you can actually do in the game, especially compared to I'm playing NHL, the latest NHL game for quite a while, and they haven't got any of that, and you can see the difference. It's impressive, the amount of detail.
I was going to say this it's called Long Shot, right? The new Telltale style mode. Is that in any other EA sports games, like a similar kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's in FIFA.
Isn't it?
It's called The Journey in FIFA. You play as this young lad who is going up through the ranks of a football team. I haven't played it myself, but I've seen videos of it on YouTube, and I think it's because it started in FIFA 17 and it continued into FIFA 18, and you pick up the story from the last game, so it's like a continuation. So I believe it's weird though. It's not in the Switch version, which is a bit annoying because I was looking forward to sort of seeing that.
Isn't the Switch version based on the PS3 360 versions of FIFA that are still coming out?
Yeah, it's a different engine. It's not the new Frostbite engine. I think it's the old engine. So.
Yeah, the engine of all of them. Since they've used the Frostbite engine, the increase in detail is really impressive with all the EA sports.
Well, yeah, the last Madden game I played was whichever one came. I think it was 15 maybe or 16. Whichever one came out with the Xbox One launch, I played that and I wasn't impressed at all. I'd take NFL 2K5 over it any day. But yeah, this new one, really, really good. Really enjoyed it. Other than that, I've also been playing a lot of Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
And I'm really impressed with this game. It's like nothing I've ever played before. It's got like it's kind of worn off now because I've played it about 50 hours, but it had a sense of like mystery to it. Like anything could happen. All the mechanics and everything, not all of them, but a lot of the mechanics are like completely different to other modern games. It's like they just completely ignored the past 5-10 years of video game evolution and just did it their own way. It's like as if Phantasy Star Online had been the base for all online games to progress from. But yeah, it's really good. Some of the decisions are unintuitive and a bit difficult to get used to, but once you've got it, it all makes sense and it's really good fun. The spontaneous things that can happen in the world, like nothing else, like the spontaneous things that can happen in the world could be big set pieces in other games, but they're not. They're all just happening randomly. Like you can be fighting, like trying to trap a dragon of some sort, and then while you're fighting, another giant like velociraptor thing will come in, and then the two monsters will be fighting, and then from out of nowhere some other monster will happen to be coming this way, and there'll be like 3 of these massive monsters all fighting, and you'll be like this little ant on the floor running around them, dodging them. It's really good fun. One of the best games I've played in a while. I
have to say that sounds quite interesting, but initially the game just doesn't appeal to me because of the art style. I don't really like that kind of.
I think same with me. I've got a friend who's massively into Monster Hunter, and he's tried to get me into it before, and I can't. For some reason, it's just not. It's never triggered me.
I've tried to get into Monster Hunter twice before, once on PSP and once on 3DS, and I couldn't get into it. Like, I lasted a couple hours, and I was like, no, fuck this. And then this time, one of my friends wanted to play online, and he like kept going on and me, go and buy it so we can play online. And I just bought it, and I've not put it down since. I mean, it's early in the year yet, but could be my game of the year for this year. I think it'll take a lot to top it. I've really enjoyed it. It's so deep as well. It's insane. It's a really good game.
Anything else, Ross?
Nope, that's it really.
Oh, okay. Well, it's to me then. So on Dreamcast, a lot of what I've been playing is online, so I'm going to talk about that later on. I have picked up my holy grail of Dreamcast games. It hasn't arrived in my hands yet, and until it arrives in my hands, I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to. I basically, as soon as I started collecting Dreamcast stuff, there was 3 limited editions that just for some reason I always wanted, and I've managed to pick one up this week.
What region?
Japanese.
You can't just not tell it. You can't dangle that carrot and then not tell us what game it is.
Well, but yeah, okay. So I've picked up the Sega Gaga limited edition box set.
Oh, nice.
Okay, nice.
When I first got into collecting stuff and that side of it, the DLR Jet Set Radio limited edition, Space Channel 5 Part 2, and that one were the 3 which just looked just stunning to me.
So have you got all 3 of those now?
Well, the Sega Gaga's not in my hands yet.
Right.
But the other 2 I've got already, yeah. So this one's coming. So in terms of limited editions, I'm happy now that I've got what I need, so I can sort of rest easy with that. But the annoying thing is, I haven't been looking at eBay for months properly, and I literally looked at eBay for the first time in ages, and it had like 25 minutes left. And I was like, for fuck's sake. Didn't put an offer in case the guy didn't respond to my offer, so I just paid what he asked for. But it's quite a good price, so I'm happy. If it comes like all broken apart, I'm going to blame you for making me reveal that on this podcast.
Did you? Is this what you were tweeting about the other night, saying I never felt so nervous or something?
I didn't say that, Tom.
Yeah, you said I'm crying like a little girl, and I've just weed myself.
Well, yes, I said that. Yeah, but, it's, you know.
So is this things. The box set with the pin badges and the limited edition VMU?
So it's the
maybe
VMU,
a T-shirt or something as well.
Yeah, if I remember. The VMU separate. The VMU's a separate order.
Oh, okay.
Come with a limited edition. But it didn't cost me much. I've seen them online for a couple £100 in the last few weeks. Didn't cost me anywhere near that much. So I'm happy with it.
Will the T-shirt fit you though, Mike?
Of course it won't fit me. I'm a fat bastard.
Yeah, but I want to see you down the pub.
I am going to go to Bristol. When you do the half marathon in Bristol next time, Tom, I'm going to go there. I'm going to make you wear that T-shirt around the entire. I will.
Well, it was probably made for a 16. It's probably made for a 16-year-old Japanese boy, so probably fit Tom perfectly.
Exactly.
I knew you were going to say that.
But apart from that, this week, apart on Dreamcast, I've also picked up what's it called? Reiki Rayblade? I think it's Reiki Rayblade, which is a sort of a mech, very stat-heavy game. I've already reviewed it from a downloadable ISO, so I just bought the game itself. The game was quite cheap, £6 I think it cost me. So that was nice. And in terms of other stuff, apart from that, I've been playing a lot of Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Switch.
Oh, right, cool.
A game I've picked up twice before, and for some reason I've sort of got lost. I haven't replayed it, so I thought on the Switch, on the go, it looks really good on the go on the Switch.
Did you play it on the Wii U or on the Xbox? Or?
Yeah, so I bought the Wii U version, and I had the Xbox 360 version before that of Bayonetta 1.
Yeah.
I didn't really get into it on the 360. On the Wii U, I loved it.
I've never played it. I've never played any of them.
It's really good. It's
finished it on 360.
Bizarre. It's a bit bizarre for those of us not necessarily picking that kind of genre of game as your first choice. It isn't my first choice of genre, but no, it's great fun. There's quite a bit of Sega love in it as well, which I like.
Yeah, I think the first one's for us probably would all agree if we played them both. The first is much better because of that. It's got lots of Sega cameos and stuff in there. The second one they kind of swapped that for Nintendo.
Exactly, yeah.
Cameos. So yeah, the first one's the one to play.
But I am playing through Bayonetta at the current time dressed as Samus, which is. I'm not entirely.
The character is.
Me personally, Tom. I've bought. I'm recreating Metroid in my day-to-day life.
Yates number one Samus cosplayer.
Yeah. Big Nintendo fanboy. That's what I do. Apart from that, not really much more because I'm moving house, so I haven't really got much room to do stuff with. So I haven't actually turned the Xbox One on for several weeks, which is probably not a good sign. But probably not on my own in that. Not many people do at the current time. So yeah, some of picks, little bit of a dig there at Xbox. So yeah, at the current time, that's pretty much it for me. So I think that's everyone's pickups and playing. We've gone way too long with that, and I'm sure everyone's now bored of us listening to us. But
actually, Mike, on that topic, there's a review. There's a review on iTunes. By the way, give us a review on iTunes if you're listening to this on iTunes. Nice little plug there. There's one review on iTunes that I remember reading saying that if there's one criticism, I would prefer it if you went on a bit longer about what you've picked up and what you've been playing. So we've now fulfilled that wish for that one solitary reviewer. Everybody else has probably already switched off at this point, but
Yeah. We've got one fan who loves it. Everyone else now hates us. Just fine. This is, of course, I will, if everyone who's listening, if it's your first time listening to this podcast, this is the 57th episode of the DreamPod. Unlike what someone on Twitter said in a quite a long thread last week, where I think a guy from IGN had asked whether there was anyone interested in doing a Dreamcast podcast.
Yeah.
And lots of the responses to it were along the lines of, oh no, there's not enough content to make more than a few. Yeah, we have. So there you go.
And it's not even 50. I think we've done like 59 in total because we did the episode 0, which was like the first one, and then we also did that Shenmue like special, which wasn't numbered. So,
was the Naomi one special that me and Scott was that special? Or was it numbered?
That was numbered as well.
Was it numbered as well? Okay.
Sorry.
It's an impressive lineup. So basically, if someone wants to like literally spend an entire 2 days listening to people waffle about Dreamcast, you can. I think it's
a guy commented on the blog the other day saying, what was he said? Let me see where he sent an email. Let me find his name. I think his name is Robert. He said, he's loving the podcast. He's been listening to about 5 episodes a day while he's at work. Keep it up. So thanks to him for that. That's really cool. Hopefully you'll...
And we will do.
Yeah.
So and before we get on to the online, there's always a bit of news in Dreamcast world to go through. Not many this time, but we'll just touch on a couple bits. Bit of an update in terms of what's happening with indie titles at the current time. We've already mentioned Ghostblade. There's several indie titles which are still upcoming this year. It's always good to just give them a shout out and make sure people realise they're coming out. We've still got Saber Rider apparently coming this year, being published by Ross is staying very quiet at this point. Ross is having to squeeze that stress ball
biting my tongue
this entire bit. So that should hopefully come out at some point this year. We're still waiting on Slave. Hopefully at some point this year that'll come out. We're also, I believe, not PS Solar. What an awful thing to say. What's it called?
Elysian Shadows?
That's the one. I think there is a comment made by Falco at some point in the last couple of months saying that it is still being worked on.
Yeah, they keep putting stuff on Facebook, don't they? Showing like demos of like blood animations and physics engines and stuff like that. So
yeah, it all looks good. I mean, come on now, but yeah, it looks really good. But come on, man, no one needs this. Just get the basics done and bloody get it out. And come on, man.
We have got a few now which are on the back burner, I think. Let's say, which is a bit of a shame. But we've still got.
There's also one more. There's FX Unit Yuki, which, aka Henshin Engine, and they had to change the name for copyright reasons. Apparently, yeah. There's FX Unit Yuki.
Are you still holding out hope?
Yeah. I know. I actually think this one will probably get released, at least on PC Engine. I think it will. But yeah, they released a video last year sometime. Apparently, the artist had kidney stones, so it got delayed. Yeah. And then it got delayed again because of copyright reasons. And yeah, it's getting delayed. Excuse after excuse. But I think it will get done. I mean, they've got gameplay footage and stuff up there.
Well, so. I'm holding out for a wasp-themed boss, personally, but...
that would be good, wouldn't it? But yeah, anyway, I mean, by now the Dreamcast version should be out, and they haven't even released the PC Engine one yet. And there's also a Mega Drive one. Josh Prod Josh Prodder had taken pre-orders in inverted commas for the Mega Drive version of FX Unit Yuki.
Yeah.
I think Josh Prodder a good company, whatever, but it's borderline deceptive to be calling it a pre-order when you're really making a prepayment for something that's still in development. The PC Engine version hasn't even come out yet. So yeah, it's a bit deceptive if you ask me. I think Josh Prod should just stick to taking money for games that are already finished and just ready to be printed. Personally, but
for those who are listening and have no idea what we're waffling on about, Henshin Engine was a game launched last year. There was a bit of an issue.
No, it's 2016, I think.
2016, sorry, was it? The years have passed quickly. So there was a couple of issues, but as always with Junkyard, if the game's released and it's good, we will say it as it is. If it's good, we will be the first people to support it. However, we always say what we think, and I think that's what people like the Junkyard for sometimes.
Yeah, it was due to be released in March last year, so I believe the Kickstarter was in 2016.
To be fair, that's probably one of the least delayed games we've got on the upcoming schedule.
Well,
I
say that, sorry.
Years.
The PC Engine version was due to be released in March of last year. It's almost 1 year late for the PC Engine version. The DC version, I'm not sure when it was going to come later though, so I don't know if development for that's happening alongside it, or if they're just going to chuck it on a PC Engine emulator and shove it on a disc, or I don't know what the case is of that. But.
Yeah.
Just to go off topic slightly, I did notice that the guys from Senile Team did an update on their Kickstarter for Intrepid Izzy. Seems to be coming along quite well.
Yep.
So there's that to look forward to as well.
And we also got Xenocider as well.
Like good. Xenocider,
yeah. They've released some screenshots, I believe. It looks like an intro movie, possibly.
Yeah.
But there's also
saying I'd never back anything ever again. I did back Xenocider. Sorry, not Xenocider. Xenocrisis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what's going on. There's several games. Basically, if you love indie Dreamcast games, there's several coming up. And of course, if anyone's been following the Mega Drive release, Tanglewood, the Disney-style platformer, there was mention of about a potential Dreamcast port of that at some point, and that guy's got a lot of publicity. He's been on the BBC News website in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I saw something it was on one of the big games websites. I think it was like Polygon or Kotaku or something.
Kotaku did one, yeah. Kotaku did an article. Looks an amazing game, but like I said, if there's a Dreamcast port of that in the future, we will be first to report on it.
It reminds me of The Animals of Farthing Wood. Do you remember that cartoon?
It does, yeah. It does.
That fox and the badger and everything. That was really cool. Yeah. And the mole.
So,
whoever's editing this, can you just play the Animals of Farthing Wood intro?
There's one little bit of extra news as well. I'm not going to touch on about too much because there's an upcoming article. But Dreamcast Live, so the guys behind Dreamcast Live or PC Wizard, has released a Versus cable.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, I haven't actually used a Versus cable. I don't know much about them really. So I'm going to pass this on to you two because I know you two are a bit more informed about this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Dreamcast can be connected for Connect Play or Link Play, whatever you want to call it, by the means of the Dreamcast Versus cable. There's several different variants available. There's the official one that was only released in Japan. There's different models such as the Dragoncast, that's the one I've got. And when they come up on eBay or other sites, they're always really, really expensive because there's only about between 5 and 8 games that support the thing, and there's not really much use for it unless you're like us and you want to write articles about different games that use them and do events where people can maybe play 2-player virtual on or any of the other games that support the device. But yeah,
well, I think for some outlandish setups like 2-player, 2 steering wheels with F355 or two-player with 2 twin sticks on your own separate screen with virtual, and either of those are pretty damn cool. But you're right, very few people are going to go to the effort of putting that together.
Yeah, and basically the price of these official or third-party connecting cables has been quite prohibitive in A, people ever actually playing Dreamcast Link games, and B, I think the fact that Sega wasn't really pushing that peripheral at all, really, outside of Japan, meant that games that you would think would have some kind of connectivity, like Outrigger, for example, it just wasn't included in these games. So the fact that the community, or rather PC Wizard, and is it Luke Benstead as well? Is he involved?
I'm not sure.
It's the same. Wait, sorry. Who's PC Wizard? What's his name? Real name?
His name is Jonathan, but he does.
Right,
he
he's
runs
the guy
Dreamcast
who
Live.
he's the guy who did the link cable 100%.
Yeah,
it was all him.
Right,
because I wrote PC Wizard and team on the article, and he emailed me and said, "Oh, just a correction, I don't have a team. It was just me."
Yeah. So basically, what he's done is he's created his own kind of aftermarket version of the Dreamcast link cable. I'd love to know how he actually did it. What his process was of creating this thing, but
magic.
Yeah, it's really really cool, and it's people like
him. Hero.
It's people like him though who are creating this stuff that, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't really create anything, do we? We just write about it or create content about it. It's people like him who actually do the hard work on the ground, as it were, and creating things like the DreamPi, which we will talk about in a bit, and creating things like this new link cable. And yeah, it's great that he's selling this now for like $40 or whatever it is, when an actual cable, in a box with packaging from Sega or from any of these third parties that does exactly the same job is like 100, 200, 300. I think I saw an official Dreamcast link cable on eBay a couple of weeks ago for like £400. I'm like, what planet are you living on that is warranted that price? I'm a collector, but I wouldn't pay that.
No one's buying it. No one who's paying that price is probably buying it to actually use it.
Yeah.
So you've got all these impulsive collectors like our friend Mike.
Whoa.
They're going to pick these up and they're going to put them on their shelves, and they're not even going to be used. So this is great for like people who just want to hook it up and use it. Then $40 plus shipping, so I guess it's about $45 or $6 if you're in the US, maybe close to $50 in the UK, I think, which is about £37, something like that.
Yeah.
I think we have a future episode of the podcast talking about the prices of Dreamcast games at the current time, and me defending myself to Ross's sculling.
It's not it's Scott as well. Scott's obsessed with buying every single version of every single game. I think he must be he's single-handedly kind of financing the Dreamcast indie scene at the moment.
Yeah. In my defence, before we get to the next episode where we talk about this, I don't actually pay that much money for stuff because I actually try and get stuff on bargains. But we'll let it go. Anyway.
But no, I've ordered one of these cables, by the way. So I mean, Tom already wrote an article on the Dragoncast cable, so I mean, there's not really much more I can say, but I will give it a test and check it holds a connection, and I'll have a quick look at the build quality and give my opinion on it in the upcoming month or so.
I have to say that since I've bought my Dragoncast, I didn't pay ridiculous for it. I think I paid something like $80 for it, which was probably a bit too much, but I was really intrigued to see how it
that's a good deal.
And since I've owned it, since I wrote the article, I've only really used it to do that. And then, I don't actually know anyone in real life like who lives nearby who would want to play link cable games. My girlfriend certainly doesn't want to sit and play Ferrari F355. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of just been sat in its box.
It'd be fantastic for events, like
of course,
take a couple twin sticks up, 2 CRTs. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's what I intend to use it for.
The funny thing is as well, though, that the Naomi, the arcade boards that the Dreamcast is based on or whatever, that also has a link functionality, and all of the F355, Sega Tetris, and Virtuon, 3 of the 5 games are compatible. They all feature this they all have the same link capability on the Naomi, but there's also like a ton of other games that also got released on Dreamcast that have it, but then the Dreamcast version doesn't, and I wonder why they didn't just chuck it in. Stuff like Spawn, Heavy Metal Geomatrix. There's a bunch of others.
There's that game, that unreleased game Hellgate, that has link cable compatibility. I've tried it; it works.
It works.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it works. Yeah. And what else? And there was apparently, I was talking to somebody on Twitter the other day. Apparently, the Japanese version of Daytona 2001 has link compatibility. I'm not I thought that was
you might
removed.
Be mistaken, but
yeah,
I've got it.
Isn't it a code? Haven't you got a bit of code in to get it?
Yeah, it's like on Virtual On. You have to hold the X and is it A and Y or something like that to make it appear. on the title screen, but apparently it works on the Japanese version of Daytona. So if you could give that a go, Ross, that'd be quite interesting to see.
Cool. I will do. It should be here in the next week or so, I'll give that a go.
So that's the Versus cable. So if you do want to purchase the Versus cable and actually support Dreamcast Live and the great work they're doing, it's Dreamcast Live, or DreamcastLive.net.
Yeah.
On the shop there is a little option to buy some stuff. I can't recommend Dreamcast Live any higher than I do, because they sort of
they're absolute heroes.
Fantastic.
And they've done it all without any crowdfunding or anything. They've completed the product and sold it, continued to support it. They've got servers up there with all these games. They're continuing to hack and create and get new old games back online. They're continuing to work on stuff. They're amazing. They're brilliant.
Yes.
Can't speak highly enough.
We're on to the online gaming side of things now, and that's what the point of this podcast is, several minutes into it. So before we go into what we're going to talk about, and we're going to say to our best experiences of online gaming, I just want to run through very quickly the games that are currently compatible online, because I think it's always good to tell people what actually is available. If you haven't actually got your Dreamcast Online yet, these are the games you can actually play at the current time. 4x4 Evolution, Alien Front Online, Choo Choo Rocket, Maximum Pool, Monaco Grand Prix Online, Next Tetris Online, Ooga Booga, PBA Tour Bowl in 2001, Fantasy Star Online, Planet Ring, Pod 2 or Pod Speed Zone, Quake 3 Arena, Sega Swirl, which is the newest one to have an email option, Sonic Adventure, I think that's just the DLC and leaderboards, Star Lancer, Toy Racer, and Worms World Party. So I make that 17 games at the current time.
Yeah, if we're talking DLC, there's actually downloadable DLC for a lot of other games, as well on top of that.
I think Sonic Adventure has a leaderboard as well, doesn't it? I think that's
I think that's why it's in there, yeah.
And a lot of these have come on. Not all of them are online just through DreamPi. There's some you can use the broadband adapter for. And
I think it's Toy Racer, Quake 3, and PSO. You can use BBA as well.
Did you mention
Ooga Booga? Yeah, did you?
No, did you mention Choo Choo Rocket?
I did, yeah.
All right, sorry.
What about Ooga Booga?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
I read it through alphabetically, so if it's wrong, I'm blaming Dreamcast Live. It's quite it's an impressive lineup, to be honest. And there's several coming hopefully quite soon. If you look at the actual Dreamcast Live website, it does say there's a few work in progress.
One of those games, PBA Tour Bowling, it never even got a release officially, so they brought it online for the first time ever.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a shit game, but they can do the same with Propeller Arena. Bloody hell, that'll be something.
We need to give a shout out to I think is it Schumer?
Yeah.
Who I think is the guy who hosts a lot of the servers and stuff and does a lot of the technical side of it. Doesn't get mentioned much, but he does a lot of the work as well. He
messaged me recently, that guy, because he wanted me to tell him what some Japanese messages were on screen. He was trying to get some of the Capcom games back online. I think he was trying Capcom vs SNK 2. So I don't know how much success he had, but he was at least trying to figure something out for that recently.
There are 3 games, like I said, currently work in progress, which to me are quite exciting. NFL 2K1, which is going to be, if that goes online, it's going to be amazing for the American football fans amongst us. Speed Devils Online, and World Series Baseball 2K2. So that's the games that are currently work in progress. There's a lot of other ones that obviously have online functions, which at the current time, I believe, I'm not in the inner circle, so I don't know what discussions are being had, but at the current time, there's no work on them being done. But there's lots which hopefully in the future we can have even more online. Now,
Propeller Arena, guys, please. Propeller Arena.
Propeller Arena would be an amazing game to have online. That would be fantastic. A lot of these, and I suppose to an extent, that's one of the great things about the fact this is all being done, through the community. It means that we can have games that are actually not proper releases being done and still being playable online. When is going to be the first online indie title? I think it's now with the market sort of with people getting DreamPis. I think there's definitely a potential for in the future an indie title having online play.
Yeah, Alice Dreams Tournament would be good online, wouldn't it?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, that would be fantastic online. Fantastic game, full stop. I like that game. So we've talked about what games are currently on there. in terms of getting online and the technical side of stuff, I'm going to pass this on again to probably Ross and Tom because I have no technical knowledge. I'll share a story with people very quickly. I had my DreamPi delivered, so PC Wizard sent me after they bought it off of Dreamcast Live, and it didn't work. So I think it was the first one he'd ever had which didn't work at all. I have no technical knowledge, and so literally it was like sort of me relaying information to him, hoping that I wasn't doing something stupid. Sent me a new one. It works absolutely perfectly, but fantastic support from them. I want to give PC Wizard a personal thank out and a thanks on the podcast because he was superb. Refused to get any money for the actual re-delivery. They do have a Patreon, however, which I do recommend everyone supports them with, and of course ourselves.
No, we're not on Patreon anymore. I
we're not on Patreon.
No, I just thought
edit that out.
No, I don't mind. No, I don't mind. I just didn't feel comfortable like taking money off people. For
those of you who would want to do a Patreon to us, we recommend highly giving some support to Dreamcast Live because they deserve it and they do a lot more technical work, and hopefully we'll be able to expand the online side of things for many years to come.
Yeah.
So in terms of getting online, so I've got a DreamPi which I plug in and it works fine. That's about my technical knowledge. You two, how are you two connected? I'm guessing.
Well, I've got BBAs. I think I'm the only one with the BBA, so I'll quickly talk about that and let Tom talk about DreamPi.
Yeah.
With the BBA, they're around the same price as a DreamPi, but as previously mentioned, they're only compatible with the free games, I believe, Toy Racer, Quake 3, and PSO. You can connect your like any standard Ethernet cable into the BBA in the back of your Dreamcast and into your router. There's a few router settings you need to sort out, but there's plenty of information online. And then you have to burn. I think there's a few different solutions, but the solution I used for PSO at least was to burn a special version of PSO that's been hacked to run with the Silverant server, I think is what it's called, Silverant server.
Yeah.
Yep. And you go into the options. I believe you might be able to do this with the PAL version as well. By default, you might not need that. Anyway, you go into the connection settings and you enter your IP address and the IP address of the server you're going to connect to, and it's as simple as that. And then you can go and connect and play online. I've not tried it with the other. Oh, actually, I did try it with Quake 3 as well. I think it's a similar thing. You just have to. I think with Quake 3, you don't even need a special hacked version or whatever. You just go into the settings and you can put in the information that you'll find this information on Dreamcast Live and on YouTube, people walking you through it, so it's not difficult. And then you can get connected. What I will say about the BBA compared to the DreamPi is, although it only works for those free games, I've not tried Toy Racer, but for PSO and Quake 3, and I imagine for Toy Racer as well, there's not a lot, but there's noticeably less lag with the BBA. Now, I believe when the DreamPi was first developed, we asked this question to the developer and to the PC Wizard, and that they said that there shouldn't be any more lag because it's only sending a signal from the distance from your Dreamcast to your PC, and then it's going by broadband anyway. So the distance from your Dreamcast to your PC is so short. It's not like a phone line going hundreds of miles or whatever. That they theorized that it shouldn't be any slower. But I don't think this is a fault of the actual DreamPi. I think this is just maybe the way the games were built to run in dial-up compared to BBA. But yeah, for example, in PSO, there's a noticeable lag when you go to pick up items, and same with Quake 3, when you shoot, there's a noticeable lag. With the BBA, it's almost instant. So yeah, if you make up your mind for yourself, but if you or get both, I've got both, but if you just want to play PSO, then the BBA, or PSO and Quake 3, then the BBA is probably the better experience, but okay. I would recommend the DreamPi because Quake 3, there's no point even playing that on the Dreamcast anymore, in my opinion. You may as well just play it on PC. And PSO, although there is that noticeable lag when you pick up items and do a few other things, it doesn't affect the gameplay in the slightest. And then you're also opening up this whole other catalogue of online games. So yeah, go for the DreamPi is my advice.
Cool.
Excellent. Yeah, I don't own the PBA. I almost got one on eBay a few weeks ago for like a really low price, but then when I looked back at the auction, I'd been outbid, and then it went up to like 170 quid or something. I'm like, nope, not paying that.
I bid on that one. I bid on that one as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
It was at something like £42 when I bid on it, and then it went up to something ridiculous. And I was just like, I'm happy to let somebody else have that. I don't care. Weirdly, I do have an empty box for a broadband adapter, an empty box and the broadband adapter disc, but no actual broadband adapter. Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah. So somebody on Twitter offered it me and said, "Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Anyway, DreamPi. Yeah, like you, Mike, I got mine direct from PC Wizard. Again, he refused to accept any payment for it, so yeah, thanks to him for that. And yes. Well, he sent me the DreamPi, obviously the little SD card with the other software on it, the little modem that comes with it that you have to plug into the actual Dreamcast modem itself. And I actually used mine through the Wi-Fi. Is that how you connect yours, Mike?
It is, yeah.
So the DreamPi, the Raspberry Pi is connecting to the Wi-Fi, and then it uses the DreamPi software and then connects that way. I have to say I've not actually noticed any lag in any of the games I've played. That said, I've only played a couple of games, and those have been Pod 2 or Pod Speed Zone. That was great fun. I also played with Monaco Grand Prix Online. Again, that was great fun. Although it's actually a really hard game, and the controls are really twitchy on the race cars, and so I did find myself kind of pulling up the rear, as it were, in all of the races that I was in. I think I got lapped several times as well in most of the races, so I didn't do a good job with that. I've also played Choo Choo Rocket Online, and that was great fun. And what kind of struck me about the whole setup and the whole process is just how kind of easy it is. So once you've initially... So basically what happens is you get the Dreamcast, you get your Dreamcast console, you get your DreamPi, you connect it all up. You have to use a DreamKey 3.0, if you're in the UK that is, or Europe, 3.0 disc to get online. You go through all the setup procedures that come with the instructions with the DreamPi, and then that kind of registers the DreamPi and your account to that Dreamcast. So you have to, use the same Dreamcast because you can't have more than one registered to your email address or something like that. Anyway, and then when you put the games in that are playable through the DreamPi method, so just use Pod 2 as an example, all you do is you just click on the online settings. You put your password in your email address, and it just comes up with the chat room, like the chat lobby, and other people join in. And then it's just like, right, it's so simple. There's no messing about. It's as if it's almost like, how with like PSN or with the Switch or whatever, you just click on play online and it just comes up straight away and you're just in, and then you start game and you just start the game and you're all in the game. It's just like that on the Dreamcast. It's brilliant. It's really, really smooth, simple. I don't know if you've done any web browsing on your Dreamcast, either of you two, with the DreamPi. But, I
did back in the day, but not with DreamPi. No,
with the DreamPi, I mean, it's surprisingly quick, because it is essentially using the broadband, isn't it, from in the house. So it loads web pages up pretty quick. A lot of web pages aren't compatible with the browser. So if you try and go on BBC News, for example, or the Dreamcast Junkyard, it just comes up as text, like it used to do on an old phone, like a WAP browser or whatever, kind of like that. But it's still fun to mess about. And obviously there is things like DreamPipe, which is specifically made for the Dreamcast web browser, so you can have a look at that. There's loads of downloads and stuff on there. There's also what's the one from Louis? The one where he's put all the different Dreamcast VMU files on there. It's from Titan Studios. Do you know the guys I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I've played Phantasy Star Online with him, but I don't know the disc you're talking about.
Yeah, he's created another website specifically for the Dreamcast and
Dreamcast now.
No, that's the online thing that shows you who's playing games online at that particular moment. But yeah, if you search for Titan Studios, you'll find his website for the Dreamcast. It's really well done and easily browsable. So yeah, it's to be honest, it's we're talking about it now like it's this great new thing, and it is. But once you get involved in it and you start playing, it just seems really simple and really kind of intuitive and user friendly, and yeah, it's just
Yeah, going back to Dreamcast Now. If you do get a DreamPi, get registered on Dreamcast Now. If you just Google it now, if you type in Dreamcast Now and click on the first link, it's a website where anyone who's registered and who's got a Pi, it will show if they're online. It will show what game they're playing, so you can have a look on there and see. Oh, there's 2 people playing. Because of course, this is still quite a niche thing. There aren't too many players out there, so it can be difficult to get games. You have to, unless it's Phantasy Star Online or Quake, or unless you're playing on the scheduled game nights, you're not going to be able to just walk into Ooga Booga, for example, any time of the day and find matches. So with Dreamcast Now, you can have a look who's online, and there's 2 people playing Phantasy Star Online, so I'll join them and go on Phantasy Star Online or whatever. It's really simple. While your DreamPi is connected, you just go to the website and click configure, and it explains it from there, and you can easily get set up on there and get added to the list of people.
I always find it funny when when you talk when people I listen to a lot of podcasts about games basically, and it's always interesting when they start talking about online gaming and like how certain games with an online component have like kind of just died of death, like things like Battleborn and what was that recent one? They go, I went online. There's only like 3,000 people playing. I'm like, mate, get yourself on Dreamcast Now. There's like 4 people on the entire planet playing on Dreamcast games. You know what I mean? This is fucking niche.
The thing is, it's so everything is set up. So I don't know who's Dreamcast Now. Is it done by? Was it Luke Benstead designed Dreamcast Now?
Well, he designed the DreamPi software, and
I think he might. I think he might have designed Dreamcast Now as well, the software for Dreamcast Now. I'm not sure.
Well, he does listen to the podcast, Luke. If we're getting this wrong, please tell us.
Yeah. So it's so simple. It's set up in such a way that it feels like the sort of interface you'd expect from Xbox Live or PSN. But it's on a Dreamcast, which is just so obviously not on a Dreamcast. You can't see Dreamcast Now on a Dreamcast yet, but it's so cool, and I think it's really done to make it as accessible as possible. Which it is. And I think that's why a lot of people are talking about the online side of things a lot more now, is because the number of users are going up and up. And I think if we keep on with this sort of trajectory and people keep on joining it, I think we're going to get a few more people online, and it will be easier to get games online.
The best thing as well is because it's such a small community, and like we all kind of, even though we might not know each other personally, we kind of know each other from our online handles. I mean, I'm sure people will know my online handle, Tom Lee C, just from the amount of Dreamcast stuff I've written. And when you go into the lobby, everyone's kind of like, oh, hi, that was a great game. It's really friendly. Like, there's no one being a dick, you know what I mean? And that's one of the most pleasant things about it, I mean...
Well, I'm on there now, so...
Oh, no one mentioned Ghostblade to Ross, for fuck's sake.
It was nice while it lasted, like, I'm sure, for everyone else.
yeah. Fucking hell.
But it is cool. I think it's exactly what I'll start again. It's exactly right, Tom. You go on there and you get people who, you get Schumer on there. You get PC Wizard playing alongside you. They had the guys who designed Ooga Booga playing online.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
That's incredibly cool. You got guys who I've seen as part of the indie scene for years. People who are on sort of the guys who do the hacks and stuff. They play online. It's really cool to get everyone who's involved in Dreamcast scene together.
So far I've played with Luis, I don't know, Luiz from the Titan Game Studio. I played PSO with him, and I've also played PSO with your old mate Jake Smith from Maximum Power Up.
Oh yeah, I know Jake.
Played with him a couple of times as well. Yeah, he's into PSO a lot.
Yeah, that was interesting that you just mentioned there, Mike, about the guys from who actually created Ooga Booga playing Ooga Booga online. I saw that on there. I saw a Sega Nerds article about it. I just thought that was really cool. I mean, obviously there's other like kind of communities around other consoles on the internet, but how awesome is that the people who actually created the game have come back to play online with like fans, like now, like 20 years later. It's just awesome.
I think they said it's a permanent fixture of their office now. There's like this lone Dreamcast hooked up, ready to go and connect via DreamPi any time of the day now. I want to get people. I want to get Peter Moore online. Do you know what I mean? I want to get like.
I want to get like
the barber. Let's get the barber online.
But get all these people from like the Dreamcast, back in the day. Get them all. Get them all playing. I was talking to. I've been talking to Bernie Stolar via email quite a bit, It'd be good to get him online. Do you know what I mean?
I can't just drop in names at all, Tom, are you?
So that was it's been quite interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's very cool. It's something which obviously 20th anniversary coming up soon. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a little bit of an online. That'd be amazing, actually. That'd be amazing.
Let's get Peter Moore versus Bernie Stolar in Quake 3 Arena. Place your bets.
So we've talked a lot, but I think to the online side of things, I think one question to go around the table very quickly. I think what game is your favourite of the current lineup? What game is the best for you experience online, and what game are you most looking forward to in a perfect world? What game would you love to have online again? Start with Tom.
Okay. As I said earlier, I've only played. I need to actually get online again, like maybe later on today. Today's this is Sunday, obviously, so today's scheduled game. I'm not sure what it is. I'll have a look in a bit. But I've only played the 3, like I said earlier, so I've got a very small pool to pick from. But I would have to say that Pod 2 is probably the best because it is just like. It's obviously not as good as Mario Kart, but it just feels like a really good like kart racer almost.
Did you play online back in the day?
No, I have to confession. I never actually played anything online back in the day with my Dreamcast because I've mentioned this many times on the podcast before, but my mum wouldn't ever let me go on the use the phone line for that long, so my time online was limited to 20 minutes or half an hour bursts, just like browsing, with the Dreamcast browser. So This is all completely new to me, and I'm loving it. But Pod 2 is my number one game so far that I've played. I think we kind of did this last time, didn't we? But if I could have any game online with Dreamcast, I would have to say Daytona USA. That would be amazing. But,
that would be good.
Ross, what about your? I know you played online.
I did play back in the day, starting from Choo Choo Rocket. I got a Dreamcast at launch, and I believe from launch, or within a few days or a week, you could get online, but only
you could get online, but you couldn't play. Yeah,
you can only do the browser. So I got online the browser. My first email address was at dreamcast.co.uk.
Yeah,
this was I didn't have a PC at the time. This is my first experience.
It was .uk.dreamcast.com.
Okay. Oh, was that okay? Yeah, so that was my first ever email address. The first time I played online, because Sega wanted to apologise, in Europe at least, for the lack of online content, because the whole advertising campaign was centred on the up to 6 billion players phrase, and they didn't even have it ready to go for, I want to say, almost a year, maybe.
Yeah, it was a long time,
It was a while. So they gave everyone who'd registered on Dream Arena a free copy of Choo Choo Rocket in the post. So I got this Choo Choo Rocket in the post and went online and played it for a few nights. And that was my first experience playing online. And then not long after, Toy Racer came out. I think it was £5. I bought it from Woolworths, £5. £1 went to charity. And I played that online as well for a few weekends and unlocked the secret cars. I still have the save file for that. I was looking for it the other day in case I need to get them out for DreamPi. Other than that, I played PSO online back in the day, but I couldn't get into it too much because of the cost. I think we had a deal where it was after 6 o'clock, after 6 p.m. It was 1 p.m. minute. Yeah. So my parents would let me go on there for an hour maybe, or maybe a little longer, and then they'd look at the itemized billing at the end of the month and make me pay back the amount it was. But a few times my dad went mental when he'd said, okay, you can play it for an hour, and 3 hours later he picks up the phone to make a call, and it's Ross, get off that money. So, other than that, I can't remember playing. What else did I play online? What else was there in Europe?
Oh, there's stuff like
Quake 3. Planet Ring. I got that. I was a subscriber. Sorry, I wasn't a subscriber, but I'd buy it every month. The official Dreamcast magazine, and Planet Arena came out on that, so played that as well online. I can't remember anything else. But favourite online game for Dreamcast in the past or now, definitely PSO. It's the deepest. yeah, it's like hundreds of hours you could play that game. And it's also good because, unlike the other games, if no one's online, you can just go and start an online game and you can grind away and level up your character and do almost anything you would anyway in the game, and then you can just stay there online indefinitely, and then if someone else happens to come online, they can just find you. Whereas with the other games like Pods 2 and Ooga Booga and that, you start a lobby, there's nothing you can really do if no one's there, so it's hard to catch people. If you just want to play PSO, you can go on, stay online, and then hopefully some people will join.
Well, there are some games.
Someone else
there are some games you just literally can't start, like Planet Ring. You can't do anything if you're not online. You know what I mean?
Right. Which game?
Planet Ring. Yeah, you can just go. You can just look at the title screen. That's it.
Yeah. So yeah, PSO for sure. And what game would I like to see come out for it?
Let me guess. Does it involve aerial dogfighting?
Well, again, in a perfect world, Propeller Arena, but I don't know if that's even possible. So perfect world, Propeller Arena. Failing that, Outrigger. I think I'd love to see Outrigger online.
That's one of those.
So I think Outrigger's stood the test of time a little better than other FPS games on Dreamcast because it was so unique and it was designed for the arcades and Dreamcast. So
yeah.
If it does come back online, though, you'd have to get the American or Japanese versions, wouldn't you? Because the PAL version doesn't have any online mode involved. Which is
you would, or you just. I think I've got the Japanese version. I don't think it's cheap.
Yeah,
and they're both. I think they're both pretty cheap games. But if not, just burn a copy or whatever. No one will know.
That's a really weird thing that they removed the online aspect from the PAL version, because on the face of it, it's actually pretty rubbish in one play mode. Pretty AI.
Yeah,
it's pretty
dumb. Unreal Tournament as well.
Yeah.
Why remove it? It doesn't make any sense about online. Yeah.
Money.
So, good choices. I think for me, I didn't play online back in the day on Dreamcast. I was a PC gamer, so I had the online experience before playing on Dreamcast anyway, so it didn't really appeal to me at the time. I think for what I've played, I haven't played many. I've only had the DreamPi for a few weeks, and I've got other things going on. I haven't had a chance to play online. But Pod 2, I echo what Tom said. Fantastic online. A game which I thought was awful. Online, you can see why the game is what it was made for. Really, it's much more fun online. Gets rid of the awful AI, which was plagues the single player. So the game though that I would probably say I want online most, I'd probably have to say Speed Devils Online, because I love racing games anyway, and I think Speed Devils Online, I think it's a game which I've done a review of it, and I was very, very critical of it because they messed with the steering and they messed with the handling quite badly, and I presume the reason they've done that is to counter any lag. So I'd like to see what it's like online and see if it's actually if there's a reason for it, really.
They also did make quite drastic.
Go on.
Go on, Ross.
Very quickly. It's 2 sentences or maybe 1 sentence. For any Dreamcast games, any Dreamcast racing game where you're having trouble with the controllers, I've said this before, but try pushing the analog stick forward, and while you're revving the engine, while you're controlling the game normally, always have your thumb pushing forward on the analog stick and roll it in quarter circles from left to right, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That completely fixed the controls for Daytona for me, and also for Vanishing Point as well.
Okay.
Both games are renowned for having terrible controls, but if you play them like that, it's not as comfortable as just playing normally, but it will make them play a lot better.
Yeah, another tip for Vanishing Point.
I don't know
about turn the bounciness of the suspension down, and then you'll stop your car from bouncing around like it's got jelly for wheels. Just on the subject of Speed Devils Online, though, Mike, I also noticed that there's quite a major sort of graphical sort of downgrade on the online version, because they've removed all the lighting effects, and it just looks really grainy. I don't know why, but the original game doesn't look like that. And
I think some of the effects, because obviously Speed Devils is known for its sort of weird things in the background. I think some of them have been removed as well.
Yeah, like the dinosaurs and the King Kong and all that stuff. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, which is a bit of a shame, but it's, I suppose, if it plays well online, then ultimately that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah. I also would love things wouldn't really affect I don't know, because it's not like those effects and things have to be sent over the connection. They're just running independently, and then it's weird that they had to make those.
I think it's same as back in when I used to play Quake 3 on a PC and everything. Obviously, to get the most out of the game, you'd have to turn the settings down so you could actually experience it without the sort of the stress of the lag. I'm not technical, so I have no real idea, but as long as the game plays well.
Yeah, I'd like to posit the idea that maybe it's because. So, for example, in Speed Devils Online, or in Speed Devils, the first version, when you're playing on the course that goes through Hollywood, there's a section where you ride along, and then like a shark comes up, from a tank at the side. And that, so if you're in first place, you get to see that. But if you're in last place, and you've not got there yet, you won't see it. Yeah. So rather than have the game render it 4 times for every time someone goes past, and then what if 2 people are up at the same, at the same point at the same time? No, the Dreamcast, it's a great system, but it's not that powerful. And obviously, we were using dial-up back in the day, so maybe that's why. Yeah, so
makes sense. Yeah, but I have interest, Tom. Because I know you're a big fan of the game. Does Wash 2049 have an online?
It does not.
It does not. You see, that would have been
good though. I think that's because it was simultaneous release on the N64 as well. Okay. And obviously, it was based on an arcade game, so it didn't have any online sort of options. Maybe. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah.
Plus, it's Midway in it, and Midway weren't really doing stuff with online gaming, were they?
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Quickly, other notable games that were online. Maybe quickly, there's Bomberman Online. Personally, I'm not too bothered about that because we can play Bomberman Online on lots of different systems. Unreal Tournament, Vanishing Point. Oh no, Vanishing Point's just leaderboards.
Yeah, leaderboards. Yeah.
There's also. Is that it? Propeller Arena Outrigger, which we mentioned. Oh, there's NCAA College Football 2K2, NBA 2K2, NFL 2K2, NBA 2K1, and I believe that's it.
Aero Dancing.
There's also some. There's definitely a load of Japanese releases as well. But from what I've heard, they used a completely different system, and it'll be very difficult for them to replicate that. So don't hold your breath. Yes.
There's a couple of like, I think is it Rune Jade, is it sort of an online RPG in Japan, which I think would I think what I've seen on be mentioned, they are trying to do something with, but it's unlikely to happen. Which to be fair,
loads.
Yeah, it's a World of Neverland Plus. You've got tons of different online sort of games in Japan. But who knows? The future is certainly open to many things. We don't know what's going to happen in the next few years. A few years ago, if anyone thought it was going to be this easy to get online on a Dreamcast, we probably would have laughed at them. So a lot's happened. We have twittered on for way too much now. Ross, before we do go on to the final sort of shout-outs, did you want to mention the Dreamcast Junkyard PlayStation Dreamcast Junkyard Fantasy Star Online events?
Well, I'm not. The last few weeks, the numbers. I think it'd be better to just plug the. I don't know how long that's going to keep going now because the numbers have gone down each week. But what I will plug is if you go to Dreamcast Live, the site with the DreamPi, the official DreamPi website, and you go to schedule, they have scheduled game nights for Phantasy Star Online, Quake 3, and they have 2 game nights, one for Quake 3 and one for PSO, and that's specifically for just those 2 games. They also have 2 other game nights, one that's centered around US time and one that's centered around UK or European time, where depending on the week they'll play a variety of different games. I think they decide in the forums on Dreamcast Live, so check that out and try to get on there. Unfortunately, because I'm in Japan, there's only one of the PSO game nights is doable for me. The others are either while I'm sleeping or while I'm working, so that's a bit of a shame. But if you're lucky enough to be in the US or Europe, then
excellent.
Check those out and join them for some games.
I'm sure we'll be getting some more events, potentially Junkyard.
Yeah, maybe we should try to do it. I think a weekly thing was too ambitious with PSO, but I think maybe we should try this weekend at this time, or this Saturday at this time, we're going to play Alien Front Online, And as long as we've got like four people to 6 people, that's enough. We'll have a good time playing it. And yeah, I think doing a weekly thing was just a bit too much for people to commit to. But yeah, we should definitely do that. Maybe just one night every 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah,
excellent.
See how it goes.
Excellent.
Now us three are all connected. I mean, that's we only need 3 people, and what if we play? It'll be fun. So if we can just get one more from the Facebook group, that'll be golden.
Yeah.
Yes. So, unless there's any more shouts, Tom, anything you want to mention before we?
One last thing I just want to very briefly mention is my Akura HDMI box, the little cable that goes from the Dreamcast to the actual Akura unit. It was pretty dodgy, like from the start when it came. It would you lose connection, or it would go all green or all purple or all blue or something without wiggling it around. And then last week or the week before, it just decided to completely die on me, so I couldn't do it. I couldn't take any screenshots or record any video or anything. I did mention it in the group, on the Facebook group, and Yossi Bihar, who is one of the guys from Bihar Bros, he DM'd me pretty much straight away and said, I'll send you a new cable. And then literally a week later, the new cable arrived from Turkey. Obviously, they have to hand make these, each and every one of them bespoke. So thanks to him for the brilliant customer service and sending this free of charge, so I can get my Akura back in action.
Yeah, I've had it happen to 2 of my cables as well, and a few other people have had it happen. Those the cable from a Dreamcast to the Akura is a bit fragile, but kudos to them. As soon as you email them with a problem, they send you another straight away, like no charges. So
very good.
Yeah, respect that.
Cool. Excellent. So I think that's pretty much it this week, chaps.
Cool.
We've covered everything we need to cover. So it only leaves me to basically say thanks to everyone for listening to the podcast and for continued support for the Dreamcast Junkyard. You can find us on numerous outlets in our attempt to take over the world. We are on a Facebook group. How do Facebook group addresses work? I think it's just Dreamcast Junkyard, isn't it? If you search Dreamcast Junkyard, we're there somewhere. There's also a group which is 11,500 members at the current time.
Wow.
If you do join, please don't ask if games are rare. Barry doesn't like people asking if games are rare. We have about 400 people a day asking if games are rare.
So you don't want, it's a cesspool, honestly. Just you don't want to join.
Oh dear. So positive, Ross. On Twitter, we also have I presume it's at Dreamcast Junkyard.
No, Mike, it's
not. Edit it out. Don't go to that.
It's at the DC Junkyard.
DC Junkyard. There we go. And we can also be found on social media ourselves. I can be found at space_turnip on Twitter. Tom?
Yeah, I'm at Tom Lee C.
And I believe Ross doesn't go on Twitter, but Ross is available on the Facebook group for insults and shouting contests. Excellent. There we go. Any other shout-outs or anything else you want to mention at all? Or are we all done?
I think we're all done, mate.
Yeah, all done. I have been trying out the OSSC with Dreamcast recently. And then I've also already tried the XRGB Mini, regular CRTs, PVMs, arcade monitors. I've pretty much tried it all, basically. So pretty soon I'll figure out a way of putting my thoughts to paper or something regarding those different formats. But yeah, it's far too much to take up time now on the podcast.
Excellent. Well, we have lots of content coming from Junkyard this year ahead of us. Keep an eye on the website.
Yes, sorry, spoiler alert. The conclusion is just fuck it all, buy a cheap 20 quid CRT and be happy with that.
Makes your entire article a little bit moot now, Ross. But no, yeah, okay. Excellent. I think that's it from us. I think goodbye from all of us. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Here we go.
Please stop this disc now.